Welcome to the Feel Better, Be Better show. Today, Kate and Nevada will answer your questions and introduce new topics designed to help feel better and be better. These are raw conversations, but they will make a difference.
All right, gotta do the intro, Kate. Ready? Song, go.
No.
No? No, come on.
No.
All right, fine.
We will lose all of our listeners if I sing.
All right, well, let's see here. We went over building super fast.
Yep.
We went over building super slow.
Yep.
We went over building medium.
Ooh, I don't know if we did medium.
We didn't? Okay. Well, either way, we're talking about building today.
Story of the rabbit and the hare. Rabbit and the tortoise.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The hare and the tortoise.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Two rabbits.
Yes. Gosh. The story of the rabbit and the hare was a quick one. But, all right, there we go. Enjoy the show. All right, so let's see here. Today, what are we talking about? We're talking about how to grow big, slow.
We grow slow.
Yeah, how to grow big, slow.
Okay.
Nobody wants to grow little. Everyone wants to grow big. How to grow big, slow. All right, so let's see here. This is really interesting. Mainly, we'll probably take it in business and probably go a couple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's so hard when you get started. All you want to do is be here and there. We're trying this and we're trying that and trying here and doing all these things because we're trying to be able to, I don't know, pay the bills.
Or, have that instant, like, I'm going to put this out there and everybody's going to want to be a part of this and it's going to just boom.
Yeah, it's because people told me they wanted it.
Yeah.
And then nobody buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Never happens. Completely never happens. And the worst part about it is it's just always that you just didn't quite catch the right person, the right group at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Or people have to sit with it. I mean, like we talk about within our business stuff, I mean, we're looking for a very niche group of people who really care about certain things, and it takes a while for them to trust you and your message to resonate sometimes.
Well, I mean, prime example would be the, one of our regulars comes in on a regular basis, and I, happened to catch him and said, hey, by the way, did you see we had the chicken, the Marzini chicken? And oh, I didn't even look, Now, they weren't in a position to want to buy chicken that week,
mm-hmm.
but then came in the next week and got chicken.
Yeah.
And those are people that believe in the stuff we're selling.
Yeah. Or I don't know how many times we've had people like come up and like look at, Michelle and Matt's Holy Cow meat before, like at the farmer's market or whatever, and they'll come talk, and it's like a couple weeks later they'll finally try it. And then after they try it, they're like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. I don't know how many times we've heard that. Or I just wanted to try it amongst others and figure out what one I like the best, and then they come back. And it's like, it's one of those you have to be patient and then let them go through the process of making that decision and come to you. Mm-hmm. You can't rush it.
Yeah, and it's really easy to, get that whole thing where it's like you should do some kind of sale or some kind of big, show or marketing push or something like that or whatever. We'll do some kind of, something online or whatever, some pay-per-click or whatever the heck. Everybody wants to do that. And I know you were around it, me and Michelle, when we were talking about it before, and myself. I mean, hers is a premium product.
Mm-hmm.
It's not competing with, the commodity side of meat.
Yeah, it's not your standard meat at the grocery store that you're just trying to get people.
Correct. And that's where she always kind of defaults. She's trying to compete in that area, and I keep trying to pull her back on, like, no, you're a premium product. So, I mean, so I kind of fight her all the time. Like, you don't want to put your product on a sale
mm-hmm.
because your idea is that you're going to put it on sale, get more people to try it, they'll come back and do it. To me, those people only buy because it's on sale.
Mm-hmm.
You need people that are wanting to buy the premium product. So she still prices it at an extremely competitive rate for what she can. She's not trying to make a huge profit. So I'm like, why are you trying to sell it?
Mm-hmm. You see that with people who try to do freebies and stuff like that too. Most of the people who come to free events or come to free stuff, a lot of times they're just there for the free stuff. You might get a couple people out of it that end up being long-term clients, but from my experience, from what I've seen, those are usually not your people that stay.
Yeah, if they see, I think the biggest thing I always come back in is that if you want to be a long-standing business and have a product that everybody wants, that you're doing a great product, and people are willing to pay that price for it, those are the businesses that stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go and do a sale on that and it doesn't mean something sale, like, I mean, how many people did we really keep from the whole Black Friday sale? I mean, I don't really remember too many of them.
Yeah, I think there's 2, but I think they were clients before.
Exactly. And then, so you think of that, but also just, people just, it kind of almost, it just makes you think that the product is overly priced when it's not on sale.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, she's not going to make very much money and not stay in business if she continues to keep doing the sales.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a situation where you really do need exposure or something like that, then sure. I mean, maybe you do need to do some kind of promotional type items, but you better make sure they know it's super promotional.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a real delicate balance you're working with of like, I want you to try it, but I don't want you to think that the price I'm charging you is a high price.
Sure.
So,
but it's even just like, it's easy to get frustrated doing the social media aspect of all of our business and stuff like that, because it's slow to gain numbers and gain traction. I feel like, being at this 8-9 months, as far as pushing hard on social media and like getting names out there and stuff, I think we're kind of finally at a point where I say our name to people who maybe haven't heard of it. Oh, I've seen kind of stuff about you, tell me more, but not necessarily be familiar enough with you to know what you do. And that feels, when you're in the middle of making posts and doing stuff, it feels like a long time, and it feels like a slow grind. You're like, I got somebody to follow the page this week, and so you get really excited. And I mean, it's a slow build, but again, you don't want just like 100 people to like your page because of something stupid and then they never pay attention to you after that. You want people who actually want to engage and care what you're trying to do. I say sell, but even more than sell, just what you're trying to build, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, well, we're looking for people that believe in what we're doing, so those people will, in theory, stick around longer and stick around with it. Of course, some people will drop off. Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. But I mean, that's the idea of growing slow to grow bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go put Facebook posts out that will get hundreds of reposts and whatever, and they're funny and they're fun, and we do some video or something like that, but does that actually improve your basically reputation, or does it hurt it?
Yeah. I was thinking about that too. There's a lot of people, when I was doing my own health coaching stuff about 6 years ago and then starting back into this, there's a lot of people who are really good at business, and the one thing a lot of them hit on is it doesn't matter how big your following or your like email list or whatever that is, it matters how strong it is, because some people can have a really small list, but if they put something out, people resonate so much with it, you have such a high percentage purchase or be engaged with what you're selling, versus if you have thousands of people and hardly anybody buy. So that's really numbers aren't necessarily a good determinant of how successful you're going to be.
Well, it's amazing how much engagement is so true in so many facets of life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have a huge business with very low engagement that really is basically not as near as profitable and productive as a small business that has tons of engagement. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's just on the business side. You look at Facebook, I mean, same thing like you talked about. I mean, if you have 500 people following you, but they're super engaged, and you have 10,000 people that aren't engaged at all, that just like it because you put on, cute pictures or whatever or something like that, and don't really engage in your product, which one's better? I mean, I'd probably say the 500.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to end up bringing it into sports too, but I mean, prime example, you can put a whole team together of amazingly great kids that are really good at sports, but if you don't have like an engagement in the team, that team isn't going to go anywhere.
No, and you'll lose the people. I mean, you see it all the time when someone feels connected and they feel like they've got chemistry with their teammates and stuff like that. It's far easier to keep them and they stay in the long term versus just like, oh, this is a good team, but good teams are by the dozen out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no buy-in to stay.
Well,
if they don't believe in the mission, if you don't have something strong for them to like want to be there for.
And then, I mean, the whole topic on this was to build slow, to build it bigger and better. I mean, we kind of, in a way, have done that very heavily in our sports teams. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of the stuff we've set out, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with this particular team 7, and we've really kind of made the push to start this transition about 2-3 years ago. With one team.
Yeah.
Now, we're up to 3 competitive, a couple rec, but it's just like, in some people's minds, that would be slow growth. For us, we're like, whoa, look at it go.
Well, I think the big thing that we're in now is, I mean, just this last year, we planned on doing 3. Now, that was with some help.
Yep.
I mean, Windows was a partnership. So really, we were only doing 2. Now we're in line to do 4, maybe more. But I think the biggest thing on that one is the building slow. We were able to make our connections. We were able to prove our reputation. We were able to show what we really did. We were able to make sure that we kept it to where it's something we could handle and work on.
Yeah. Well, and other coaches and other parents have trusted us more because I started this and then you came in and helped me with this, but doing coaches clinics and players clinics and stuff like that, I mean,
yeah, that was like mistake 1 and 2 right there, but okay.
Stop it. They see a lot, there's been just a lot of resources and stuff trying to help certain people, and they're like, I don't know, it just kind of builds that it's not me versus you, it's I want, kids to grow. And kind of build what I envision and what I see and what I'm about when I'm, looking at building a team.
Well, let's go on both sides of that one. I mean, so we brought in Gabby this year, and I know she's helped coach before, but I don't think she's really been, part of this. She seemed to she took to it way better than I think anybody really thought. I mean, she really, I think, has enjoyed herself and see how we work together as a group to try to cover all these teams and all these kids.
Yeah, her free weekend, she comes and hangs out with us at a tournament.
Yeah, that is kind of your dead giveaway that she likes it. But I mean, I think the big thing, if you try to grow, would it have been a whole lot easier for us to have 10 teams, and that way we could have a location and we could be able to build we'd be able to have all these other things that would work. And what then we would need, if you're going to jump into that, you're going to need 6, 7, 8 coaches at minimum. Who you getting?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is it's one of those okay, now I'm pushing myself to find people who may or may not resonate with my mission that I'm trying to build here, who may or may not coach similar to me. They don't have to coach the same as me, but there's certain things that are non-negotiable as far as how I want things to look.
You gotta have the same core beliefs.
Yeah, and most of these people I'm probably not going to know, so I'm just going to go grab random people who say they're good at stuff and then hope I have time to check in on them and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun at all. But, with Gabby, she was able to come and do the hitting with us, come and do some of the videos with us and stuff like that, and then you were able to kind of mentor her and let her get comfortable and find her footing and see where she was to where she could kind of flourish and see what her coaching style was, but still resonated with what we were trying to do at the same time. And it ended up fitting in and aligning, but we were able to test the waters and slowly move her into that position versus just assuming she could do it and then putting her in there. If you did that with 10 people, you probably are not going to find very many of them fit with what you're trying to do.
Well, plus we were able to kind of, in a way, I think we kind of cheated. We were able to make her a believer when we did hitting camp with her, and I changed up her swing a little bit, and she did a lot better. I mean, and it wasn't like it was super complicated. It was a real small thing. I think Nicole has always said it best. She's like, I can see what's wrong. I don't know how to fix it. And that's the same way for me in pitching. I'm like, something's wrong, but I don't know how to fix it. And we're really good about kind of doing that. Like, hey, this is off. Can you help them out? Sure, no problem. Just do this. And then you almost, I don't know about your end. I know I feel sometimes for me, I almost feel like I'm being amazingly condescending because I mean, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, just do this one little thing that seems completely innocuous, that doesn't even seem connected to it, and boom, everything fixes. And they look at you like, how did you do that? And you're just like, just too many years of doing that. Just too many years of fixing this little thing. And so she does the same thing in pitching though. I mean, we're sitting there going like, I don't know, it's like this, it's creating that, or whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, just do this. And everything's fixed. And you're like, thank you. I'm glad you're really good at doing pitching. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the whole thing. I think the biggest thing though is when we talk about this is building slow, if you bring in all those coaches, we can talk about just the problem in the coaching side of things, but you talk about player side of things, you talk about parent side of things. I mean, we have a pretty close-knit group, and we still have issues with that kind of stuff. I mean, I couldn't even imagine trying to pull in, like, start just 8 teams out of scratch.
Yeah, because, I mean, at that point, you're just grabbing players to grab players.
Yeah.
You're like, are you decent? Or are you good? Okay, we'll just take you. I don't care.
Can you pay?
Yeah. Whereas, we can be have a little more discretion of like, okay, do you work hard? Do you listen to instruction? Are your parents, how are they communicating with back and forth? Are they going to be a nightmare to deal with? Do I even want to consider that, even though your kid might be great? Like, there's a lot of factors in there, but if you're just pulling numbers to pull numbers, you're kind of just taking whatever you get with that, and that can be a headache.
You could be creating a lot of problems. And we've seen a lot of programs run into that situation because, I mean, it is just... There's a lot of personalities to us, so you better vet them pretty good.
Yeah, because not only do you have that personality that the coach might have problems with, but all your other teammates and your other parents have to deal with them, and you're going to lose potentially some really great players because you're not dealing with that situation and you've let somebody like that into your program.
Well, yeah, but you also get into situations where does your line draw?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've got, you got the kids that are interacting with each other, you got the parents that are interacting with their kids, you got the parents that might be interacting with other kids, you got parents that may be interacting with other parents, and then you got all the other scenarios that could possibly be. So I mean, you have a lot of, where exactly is my responsibility? Where exactly is it okay for me to step in? Where exactly is it what I'm supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
You've been around me long enough that I don't get in the middle of any of that. I'm just like, I'm going to lead here.
Yeah.
And I know some people that don't like it, which is fine, but I'm like, I just assume I can't control everybody, but what I can do is hopefully show you a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong, and I'm going to apologize right now if it is, but that's what I think we should do right now, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. But, I mean, even all this stuff brings me back into, like, the business side of things, too. I mean, when you're looking at bringing on other employees or trying to scale your business up from there, I mean, when you can go slow, like we've talked about, okay, what is the next steps looks for the next type of person we want to bring in versus tasks we want to give them and how do they fit? It's not like, okay, can we bring 10 people on and make this thing really, like, explode?
You could.
You could. You run into the same potential problems, though.
Huge.
Yeah, so especially when you're looking at, like, building a community, having a message that resonates, you gotta bring in the right people and, like, get them to agree with that message and move forward, or find the people that already kind of do and move forward, or find people you kind of feel like work pretty good. I mean, you can't just pick, like, oh, you can kind of do that, let's just take you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's one of the things I think me and you are going to talk a lot about here pretty soon is, I mean, I kind of want to make sure that we're set, like, this is how we're going to do things.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we're going to try to operate. And what the problem you run into is on sports teams, relationships, whatever, it doesn't really matter. This kind of goes on everything. If you try to force it, it's never going to work.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is, we're lucky because me and you kind of agree on a lot of the same things, or we can at least come to an agreement and say, we're going to go like this. We're going to do these type things. And so when you have two people that are leading it, you can't force it. It's just either people come along or they don't come along. We do that in plenty of our business stuff of like, here's how we're going to do it. Let's see who gels with us. It's not going to be everybody, but whoever gels with us, we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, I mean, it's not saying that that's bad or that's wrong. It's just they need to find one that they gel with.
And with that too, I mean, you're going to have some people who are borderline that you take a chance on that sometimes work out really well and sometimes don't.
Yeah, well, you have to.
Because you don't know.
Well, I think the biggest one on that one is, and it's really harsh because we've been raised our entire lives to try to make sure we're likable. We include everybody in, that we don't offend anyone. So we can bend over backwards to do that, but you almost have to get to the point where you're kind of like, this ain't going to work well for anybody here. Mm-hmm. So, I can keep pushing this, but at the same side, I mean, if I don't say this comment, make this situation that we talk about, hash it out, get a common ground, whatever it is, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's now becomes my fault. That's a tough thing for people to do because they've been programmed for their entire lives to make sure that everybody is pleased.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, sometimes it just works out way better if you're like, look, okay, we don't work well. You go there, I'll go here. We can still be friends. We can still be communicative. We can still be, wish each other the well. And I had that situation this week with my job stuff. I mean, it was wild. I had plenty of people that came in and thanked me for the work, asked me about where I was going, and not in a negative way, just more of like supportive of what was going on, because I didn't go in there going like, all right, I'm out of here, heck with all y'all, or whatever. I went in going like, all right, I got this opportunity, I'm going to go do this. If you need anything with this, I'll be more than happy to help. If you need this, you can do this. I mean, but it was very firm. I'm done, but it's not mean.
Mm-hmm.
And we have similar situations we're dealing with that, here. But that's kind of the mode we're going in. Here it is.
Yeah.
And we are still here to help. We're still here to support. But then we got to move forward. Everybody's got to move forward in a better scenario.
Yep. All right. What area you want to hit next?
Moving
slow.
I'm kind of moving slow through this show. So maybe it'll be better. Maybe.
Slow and long show.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you kind of get to be able to see people develop too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really interesting to watch. We kind of talked about some people we are possibly needing to fill in some holes to give some relief. I mean, as much as everybody can work 7 days and nights a week, it kind of gets a little old after a while. Or you get sick.
Or be in 2 or 3 places at the same time.
Oh, I've always done that. Here's what you do. You just end up being late to one of them, which is totally my way. I cannot believe that person had the license plate. I'm like, that is my license plate. Said I'm late. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly me. That's it. I don't know.
Should have bought it off of
Somebody should have just given me that one, because I'm always trying to be in 2 places at one time. But no, and we've talked about it a lot, because we want to slow roll there too. We want to know whatever we're giving that person is not overloading them.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure whatever we're giving that person doesn't get messed up. We have a hard enough time making sure to stay on top of all the things that we are doing, and that's becoming more challenging with more and more stuff that we're doing. And we're relatively organized.
Yeah.
So I mean, but then when you see people like Abby, who's looking at bringing on another person to help her coach, and of course we're supportive of it, because she's of course ready to go on her own. We're still going to be around. We're still going to be there helping her. She's still going to be helping us. But when you start doing that, that's when it starts growing almost faster than you want. And it is our job to kind of pull it back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really tough, because we of course know we need to get to a certain place, but we're also kind of going, okay, what can we do? Nope, hold on. Could we go here and do these 17,000 different things? Of course we could, but it could be detrimental.
Yeah.
At the same side, you're looking back going like, we need the revenue, or we need the income, not really on the sports stuff, but I mean anywhere that you're looking, that you start justifying it. Like, yeah, okay, it'll be a mess, but we really need it. When I get the income, then I'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that in my entire life whatsoever. So,
but even with that too, I mean, you could talk about that. You could talk about it in a personal development scenario. You mentioned training briefly when you've got employees or coaches underneath you, but even personal development of making that person a better person in general. You can talk about that in nutrition and exercise. You can talk about that anywhere you're building a habit or new skills. You're far better off going slow building those.
Well, they've proven that time and time and time
again.
Yeah. That, I mean, if you want to lose weight and keep weight off, find one thing that you can make a habit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think of like drinking water when you wake up.
Yeah.
That is one that I love it for people that say they don't really like water because it doesn't taste like anything or whatever. Hey, I was one. I didn't hardly drink any. But that is your most dehydrated. You haven't drank or ate anything for, some people ate, me 3 hours, and fine, 5. But anyway.
That's pretty long in between meals for you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, true. But anyway, you haven't, you do sweat at night, so I mean, you're about your most dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
If you drink water, then for some reason, which is why I started doing it, because the dehydration thing was kind of like, that's true, I'll give it a shot. Now I can't not do it. I'm drinking like probably 10 times because it just kickstarts your water thing. And that's just one little habit. That's just a glass of water when I wake up. Now I have like 7 glasses of water a day because I just want it.
Yeah. I mean, that's with anything. Every coaching book or certification, everything that I've ever gotten. It's very much like, no, pick a small habit that they can be 90% confident that they can do over the next 2 weeks. And then once you've got those 2 weeks in, then you can start building on it a little bit. But people all the time, they want to go, okay, I'm going to get my life in order. So I'm going to start eating all the vegetables. I'm going to drink all the water. I'm going to avoid soda and sugar. I'm going to eat this, sleep this much. I'm going to exercise 3 times a week. And they try to do it all at the same time. And they haven't been doing any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it always fails because they always overwhelm themselves. And it doesn't work that way. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, and as we're talking about that, next thing you know, the water I think is a good one. Most people can easily work that in. Then you start going, okay, what's your next thing? I'm like, we'll just eat a vegetable at every meal.
Yeah. One of actually the biggest ones that I like the most on my personal end is helping people eat till they're 80% full. Because it makes you consciously aware of your eating habits and makes you focus on what you're doing. And it's so easy for us as a society to just eat till we're full, and you're actually reading your body cues. You're slowing down to read your body cues.
Sorry, I'm just wondering. I don't think I'd ever be able to stop eating.
Just bottomless pit.
80%, I would just have to keep going. Just keep going. I mean, there might be like an hour or two I might be able to like slow down, but I think I just have to keep eating.
Well, you're one of the few.
No, that's definitely that one's not bad. Like I said, I like the vegetable. Just try to add the vegetable and like eat it first. I mean, next thing you know, you'll be wanting more of those. But I mean, that one's, again, once you do one, now you start going, oh, I can do a walk after lunch, and then they'll start, I want to start, doing more body, what's the right word? I'm like, we're building my muscles a little bit more. Okay, well, we'll start with do 5 push-ups and, when you wake up.
Yeah.
It's easy. You can work that in.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you want to do I'm going to do push-ups and sit-ups. I'm going to do push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups, whatever. It's just amazing how those will build, but you will see changes.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest ones I've had is I'm losing like a pound every month since we started doing our meals and our exercises. And pretty sure it'll stay off me.
Yep. And that's the thing too, like anybody who has a lot of weight on it, it feels like you've gained it really fast, but when you look at it, it's taken years to get to that point. So if it took that long to get on, it's probably going to take at least that long to get off. So the stuff that like really drop the pounds fast, that's usually a lot more difficult on your body, and you end up gaining it back.
Well, the funny part about it too is, I mean, if I had to go back to eating the way I was, I would have some severe issues. I mean, I would just have meals every now and then. I'm like, okay, well, I guess can't eat that ever again. And then, so if I had to reverse that, it's going to be really tough. But if I had, and I'm trying to think, I'm working outside. I mean, we've been talking, this week's a real messed up week for me. I'm not getting near as my workouts and mobility stuff in at all. And I'm feeling it. Pretty sure I'm feeling my sleep as well. So, I mean, right there, you're kind of seeing that it's not easy just to go back to being not mobile.
Yeah.
So it's just weird how those little steps are so huge. I mean, just if you want to get better sleep, I mean, okay, let's try doing the 5x5 thing or whatever the heck we did, in our sleep one. See how you can do there. Just start that step. It takes like 5-10 minutes before you go to bed. Even I can do that. I may fall asleep on it, but I mean, I'll do it. You said another one there that I was there's another one you didn't say that I was interested in. Investing.
I knew we'd get there.
On going slow, yeah. That one's really hard.
I mean, you can't just be impatient and wait till you have a bunch of money and just invest all the money.
Well, there's a couple of things, There's a couple of things in investing that always crack me up more than anything. Anybody that ever tells you, like, I got this great return on this, and doesn't give you some kind of caveat of some of the ones they did bad on, it's kind of like when you hear the gambling story of, like, I took $5 and turned it into $5,000, but you never hear the story of when they took $5,000 and turned it into $5. They never tell you that one, right? They never tell you about that stock they bought that basically went down 80% before they finally sold it, or went 100% and it closed and went out of business. You don't hear those stories on a bragging scenario. You hear them in like a feel for me story, but you don't hear them in a bragging story. I'm a huge person that like just build it nice and slow. But one of the biggest problems that people run into, the other one I always hear about is, well, I don't have enough to invest. Well, I mean, you need the first $5 to be able to get to $1 million. You need the first $10 to get to $1 million. You need the first $1,000 to get to $1 million. I mean, you got to accumulate that somehow. If you don't ever do any because you don't have $1 million, then you're never going to get $1 million.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, with savings, because we've talked about, automatically transferring stuff over, that stuff builds faster than you think it does. And even like stocks, we were looking at stocks today, there's a lot of them that aren't that much to buy one. So it's not like you have to have
there's some that are tons.
There are, but it's not like you have to have $100, $500 to buy a share of a stock.
Oh, it's so
there's
easy now.
plenty that are like $10, $15 that you might not have that much, but you could buy a couple here and there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that there used to be a lot of minimums around. I mean, there used to be it didn't used to be this easy to go online, open an account, and invest money. I mean, you can do it with $50. I mean, you can do it with $10. I mean, you can do it with hardly any money. You used to be able to have to get $25,000 just to go talk to somebody that was a fun person to be able to even get in the game. That was before we had internet and phone and that kind of stuff. So I mean, there's some justified sources of I don't have enough in there. Unfortunately, it has changed. I say justified in the fact that they knew they didn't have enough to go talk to Merrill Lynch or whatever, or Goldman Sachs or something like that. But again, the bank would have taken your $10 you had to invest, you put it in a savings account. If you never do the $10, your first $10, you're never gonna get $1,000. You got to do the first 10 somehow. You've got to get started. It doesn't matter what you start with.
Yep.
And the other one I really like too is I can only do $5 a week. Do $5 a week. If that's all you can do. Do it. Do what you can do. But the biggest one is when people try to be like, okay, well, I didn't save anything for retirement, so I'm 55 years old, so I need to put in $100,000 a year. Okay, you don't make $100,000 a year, so it's going to be really hard to do. And then it's I got to find some of the stuff that grows really fast. Well, everybody would like to grab those, okay?
If that was a thing we knew about, everybody would be investing in those.
So then you start going on stuff that's risky and stuff like that, and you get yourself in trouble. So again, I mean, growing slow. But one of the biggest ones on investing too that I like making sure to show people is go put yourself into a calculator. Do what I just want to be able to replace, $40,000 a year. I think I can, if I need to on retirement, I can probably get by on that, right? And then you can do it on your own salary. Where do you need to be at? I need to have this much in. How much do I got to put in from here on out? It's like this. Most of those numbers are not crazy numbers. They're usually pretty doable. You don't need that much unless you're literally running out of time. So, I mean, as long as you're relatively young thinking about this, and I mean relatively being like my ages and younger, so that's pretty old. I don't act it, but I mean, that's, still pretty old. So, yeah. But I mean, you don't, even above my age at that point, you just need to really look at what you got to get, what you really need to do. Mm-hmm. But if you're 40 years old and younger or something like that, you got plenty of time. It may cost you a little bit more because you didn't save earlier, but you can get to whatever you need to get to. So, can't think of anything more on the growing slow.
Can't either. I feel like we hit all the topics really fast.
All of them were done? Sweet. Don't have to worry about that one anymore.
Check it off the list.
You would probably put yourself a gold star on the list.
No, I like the check marks.
Check mark. You what about crossing out?
I do that on Asana because they don't have a check mark, but you can scratch through it. And I'm like, it's gone.
Oh, God.
Not gone. I can see it's done.
Okay. All right. Well,
things that make me happy.
Here's hoping that you can quickly move slow as possible to success.
Yes. In all areas of your life.
There we go. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Kate and Nevada hope you've enjoyed this show and found it useful and empowering. If you have any questions or comments, please contact them at kinetics.com. That's KNETICX.com. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And please write a review of the show. Kate and Nevada appreciate hearing the feedback, and they welcome your reviews, and your word of mouth will help others learn how to feel better and be better.
You can do a song. Ready? Go.
No.
What?
You know I don't sing.
Yeah, but it can be fun. You got to sing in the shower. Everybody sings in the shower.
I sing by myself all the time, but
Sing.
I am not going to sing
Sing.
on this show
There you
with the 7 people that watch
Come
it.
on, it can be fun.
No.
You do like a twinkle, twinkle. No? Okay, fine. Just always try to give you one thing you can put in there to be able to be like, yeah, I'm going to leave this in just to mess with him.